What's up, guys? It's Dynasty from Mountaintops back again. 2 weeks in a row this time, so we're actually fully back. We had the Hall of Fame game already, so that was exciting. But I'm Mickey. Obviously, Jeremy's with me here. Before we got started here, we got to talking about wrestling because we're both huge wrestling fans. We just saw SummerSlam. What you think, man?
Yeah, fantastic show, I think, from start to finish. The TLC match didn't disappoint, in my opinion, and nor did the main event. Some of the online critics hate the result, but I think overall it was good. You?
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. I thought the TLC match was a show stealer. I agree with you. That was awesome. Candice LeRae making that fall into the tables was sick, or into the ladder was sick.
Yes.
So cool that she did that. And main event, now I understand why. Sorry for the spoiler if you didn't know, but Cena in his last year bringing Brock Lesnar had to happen. I know the legal trouble, but happy to see that that's going on as well. So we got a banger coming up next month or in a couple months. So I'm pretty pumped for that. So also, thank you, Rollins. That's all I got to say. So moving on, if you didn't watch wrestling, then you're not going to understand what we're talking about. So don't worry about it. Forget the last minute and a half of your life. What we're here today to talk about is our tiers and our ranks. We're doing wide receivers this week. We'll do running backs next week, and then split show of quarterbacks and tight ends in 2 weeks. Hopefully that works out that way. We're going to go through the first 6 tiers, and then take a little break, talk about Jordan Mason, who's interesting running back to talk about this year for sure, which we'll discuss. And then wide receiver tiers 7 through 10. And then some of the names that we have that didn't make the list that we compiled or that we put together for the averages. And to get us started, I did want to let people know this list that we're basing everything off of was a compilation of all of Dynasty Daddy's rankings. So they have ADP Daddy, Keep Trade Cut, which is in there, super popular site as we've talked about before. Also Dynasty Process, Fantasy Navigator, PFN, Pro Football Network, and Draft Sharks. So compiled all those together, got a good average, and figured out where the average for each player is. So we will talk about that, and then based off of where we have them ranked, we'll figure out, okay, why do we have such a big difference with this person compared to the average that we put together? The compilation, as I'm going to probably call it throughout the show. So does that all make sense?
That sounds good to me, boss.
All right, lovely. So let's get into it. We don't want to waste too much time here. So first off, we're in tier 1, obviously. The rankings have, or the compilation here has Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, 1, 2. That's it in the first tier. So me and you both had these two guys as 1 and 2. We do differ on who is 1 and who is 2. I'll let you go first because you're exactly the same with the compilation here that we have. So why Chase?
Jamar Chase is the alpha, in my opinion. He led all wide receivers in targets, yards, touchdowns, end zone looks. I believe he outscored the wide receiver 2 by 85 points. Dude's only 25 years old. He's still connected to his collegiate quarterback in Joe Burrow. And he plays in probably one of the most pass-heavy offenses in the NFL. Last year, he's coming off career-high numbers in fantasy points per game. 17 career-high touchdowns. Career-high receptions per game. Yards per game. Career-high total yards. Triple Crown winner. I mean, it's a no-brainer in my opinion. I think you go with the connection and you go with the experience and you go with the guy coming off of last year. Absolute freak numbers.
All right, so I 100% understand anyone who picks Chase, and this is kind of just picking at straws or whatever you want to call it. Slim margin, I think. But I take Jefferson first, and the reason I do that is because except for last year where Jefferson finished number 2, Jefferson has been above Chase every other year. So 1 year where they finish 1-2 reversed is not going to change my opinion of who I think the best player in fantasy football overall is, which is Justin Jefferson. That's not where I have him ranked as one overall, but because it is in Superflex that we rank, but Justin Jefferson is my number one non-quarterback in the entire game. So 1 year for me in a dynasty is not going to change anything. He has been one in the top 5, I think, probably even top 3 for the last 4 years, 3 or 4 years. So pretty impressive ever since he's come in, and never really had a question to it since he's been the guy there in Minnesota. So like I said, it's splitting hairs between the two.
I can't argue. I can't argue if I talk you into taking Jamar Chase at 1, that Jefferson falls to me at 2. I can't really be upset with that information. So yeah. I think you nailed it. I think it's essentially a coin flip. And it's going to be fun to watch them keep going each year.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I 100% agree with you. Moving on, the one thing I don't have listed here, I just wanted to make a comment. They have CeeDee Lamb as the number 1 in the second tier. I do not. I don't think you do either. We both think that he's
right there in that tier
with Jefferson and Chase. He's just gotten some unlucky breaks the last 2 years, man, with hurt quarterbacks and things like that. So, yeah.
No, I think we both have him in the third spot in the tier 1, which is...
Yeah, we both have him in tier 1.
No arguments there.
But clearly he's the number 3 guy. What we are going to talk about, though, the next tier 2, is CeeDee Lamb, like we said before, Malik Neighbors, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Puka Nacua, and Brian Thomas rounds out the second tier there. So, real quick, Jeremy, you have Malik Neighbors 3 lower. I have him even. I have him at 4. Give me, what's the reasoning for Malik?
I was going for the issue in regards to his inconsistency in health. He's already down. He's already lost games last year due to 2 separate injuries, one due to a concussion and one due to a toe injury that's bled into a calf injury, which is also now bled into this year, and he's having these issues at camp. Furthermore, we're going to have we're going to have a quarterback room that is going to be all over the place this year, especially depending on the success of the New York Giants. So I think all that surrounding the aspects, plus like I said, with him having already 2 losing actual games to 2 separate injuries, and one of them lingering into this year, has me having him in a little bit lower.
No, and that makes sense. I mean, again, it's so tight up top here. You can't really go wrong with any of these guys. But I was just kind of curious about that. For me, my biggest drop is Brian Thomas. I actually have him in the 3rd tier, the number 1 player in my 3rd tier. 3 spots lower than consensus. For me, I just think Travis Hunter is going to be a bigger part of this offense than people are saying. And I know everyone's like, well, Jamar Chase has T. Higgins, and Justin Jefferson has Jordan Addison. Yeah, but he's not them. Sorry. I know you love him, and I feel bad saying that to you, but I just believe that he is going to take a step down because this offense is going to be a little bit different this year as well, with a new head coach, different quarterback, because he really made his money with Mac Jones, who is not there anymore. Not saying that Trevor Lawrence is worse than Mac Jones by any stretch, but just a different quarterback. So we'll see what happens there. I do have Brian Thomas, like I said, number 1 in my 3rd tier at number 10 overall. So you had him 2 spots higher. We know we've talked about how much you love Brian Thomas, so I 100% understand that for you to be honest. So moving on, tier 3, we have Nico Collins, Drake London, Ladd McConkey, Marvin Harrison Jr., Jackson Smith-Njigba, A.J. Brown, and Garrett Wilson. Real quick for me, this is no surprise. I've been a Marvin Harrison apologist, I guess, at this point for a while. I have him 4 spots higher than consensus. You have him 2 spots lower, so we're 6 spots different, which is kind of significant up this high up, in my opinion. So reason for me is I just think he was getting acclimated last year. They do have Trey McBride, who is an alpha when it comes to tight end, which we'll talk about in 2 weeks. And Kyler and him just didn't have very good chemistry. I'm hoping that chemistry changes, and if it does, Marvin Harrison is a potential top 5 wide receiver in fantasy. He has that potential, and the way I look at these rankings are who do I want in a starter draft. So that's how I put these together, and I would put Marvin Harrison above a lot of people, in my mind at least. I have him in my second tier. So for you had Jackson Smith and Jigba 6 spots lower than consensus. I have 2 spots lower, so I kind of agree with you, but just not as strongly.
Fair enough. No, I don't think this is a JSN is a subject matter of why I'm ranking him so low. I think it's just a matter of what I've seen from other wide receivers that are ahead of him in the rankings. That's all. I do feel that there is a little bit of pessimism from some skeptics in regards to the quarterback change and how it's going to affect him with Sam Darnold not throwing in the ball. So I'm sure that's playing a role into some aspects, but that's really it. It's just a matter of other wide receivers ahead of him.
Speaking of other wide receivers, you have Garrett Wilson 6 spots higher. So he's actually the last person in your second tier. So tell us a little bit about that. I do have him 3 spots higher, so I agree. I think he's a little bit better than consensus is showing. But why do you have him so much higher?
Garrett Wilson's one of my walk away with in every draft year this year. Garrett Wilson, I think, is going to be insane with Justin Fields. Everyone likes to downplay in regards to either how Justin Fields has been playing and or how Garrett Wilson's numbers are. Garrett Wilson's numbers are absolutely ridiculous considering what kind of quarterback play that he has had. It's because he is playing on these Jets teams that have done absolutely horrendous throughout the regular season, losing horrible games, that no one's really seeing what Garrett Wilson has done and what he's doing from separation points per game and what he's doing in fantasy points per game and his consistency of targets. I believe it's been overstated in regards to how I feel about college connections, but so far it's been proven to be pretty successful in modern football. And I'm looking forward to seeing how Justin Fields plays with Garrett Wilson, considering the history that they've had at the collegiate level with the Ohio State Buckeyes. So I think that Garrett Wilson finally has a quarterback that's going to be able to throw him the ball. I think Garrett Wilson finally has himself a quarterback that's going to be multiverse in regards to being able to run with the ball, and it's going to give Garrett Wilson a lot more availability to be open.
Yeah, and to be honest, Fields, he might not throw the ball a whole lot, but when he does, who else is he going to throw to than Garrett Wilson? Yes, I know you like tight end, but Garrett Wilson versus that tight end, that's a pretty big difference.
Exactly. Like I'll be that tight end drum like you said, in 2 weeks, but Garrett Wilson's miles ahead in any type of aspect.
Right, absolutely. Moving on, tier 4, we have lost my spot here. T. Higgins, Rashee Rice, Tedero McMillan, the Rook, and then Travis Hunter, the Rook. So the Rook's back to back in tier 4, and you had an issue with one of them. So why don't you talk about Tedero McMillan?
No, again, I think unfortunately he's just a matter of JSN in regards to how I had other wide receivers ranked ahead of him. Look, for the same grounds of what you were saying that you're taking Justin Jefferson for his consistency of many seasons versus Jamar Chase's one season. Bryce Young was as good as dead as any quarterback as far as I can concern myself as week 4 of last year. Bryce Young hasn't done much since he came in. I mean, obviously, we're looking at a small window here, but I am looking at a smaller sample size because he had a great last 6 to 8, 10 games of the season last season. Now, all of a sudden, Bryce Young is back, and Tet is going to be that piece that unlocks him. I still need to see a little bit more from Bryce Young, in my opinion. And furthermore, I do have a hard time, and it's been vocal here, I do have a hard time ranking these rookies who have not taken a single snap in the NFL above consistently producing fantasy wide receivers that have already have done and established themselves on a team. So that's why he is ranked a little bit lower. I haven't seen a single snap in the NFL, and I need to see more from Bryce Young for me to feel confident in ranking him higher.
Sounds good. And I'm going to challenge you on that comment that you said about rookies in a little bit, just so you know. But no, I have him one spot higher. I love Ted McMillan. Everyone knows that. If you've listened to our podcast once, I've talked about him multiple times, almost as much as Aston Genty. Not quite. Got him in this week too. But my biggest difference in tier 4 was Rashee Rice. I have him 4 lower, you have him 4 higher. So this is actually a really big difference, an 8-spot difference for me and you. For me personally, I'm worried about the injuries. I said this last week. I'm worried about the injuries. I'm worried about the legal issues. I'm worried about the boneheadedness, to be 100% blunt about it, because he's had an issue the first 2 years of his career. Not necessarily legal the first year, just being bonehead, basically. And also, I believe that his spot is still being filled, is going to be a dual threat with Travis Kelce, who's still there, can still play. Whereas there are some other weapons on the team that are kind of by themselves, and that's why I said last week, I think Xavier Worthy's going to have a better year. Now, we are talking dynasty-wise. It just scares the life out of me that he is going to do something stupid again or be hurt too much because of what we've seen the first 2 years of his career. So I had to rank him a little bit lower. I actually thought I was going to have him lower than that, but I just couldn't find another. And I just couldn't find.
Yeah, I agree. I thought he'd be lower. I thought he'd be lower as well, honestly.
Yeah, I'll take it. I am not a Rashee Rice guy whatsoever. I want to stay away from him. I was surprised, but I just can't put him lower than anybody else on that list. Is kind of what happened there because of his talent. He is super talented. Tier 5, we have Devonta Smith, Xavier Worthy, Rome Odunze, Zay Flowers, DJ Moore, Chris Olave, and Terry McLaurin, maybe, if he plays.
Let's assume he has a contract for this, yes.
Yeah, we assume. We both have him. Actually, we both have him in the same spot, 4 spots lower, but we're not going to talk about Terry right now. We talked a lot about him last week.
Yes.
So, for me, Chris Olave, I have ranked 7 spots lower. You have him 3 spots lower. So you semi-agree with me, just not as serious, I guess. It's kind of the same thing as Rashee Rice, except for the legal issues. He seems like a good human being. It's just, he's always hurt. And I don't even know if he's the number 1 on his own team. Because of the consensus that we were working with, I couldn't bring myself to put Rashid Shaheed ahead of him. I want to really bad. I just couldn't do it yet. I think it
was tough. Tough. Yes, it was tough. It was tough not to. I agree.
Because he was the number 1 last year, even when we were both healthy. And yes, they're both going to have a rough year, and that's another reason. But I think the quarterback situation will be fixed in the next 2 years, with probably the number 1 pick next year, top 5 pick next year, because that Saints team is a little rough outside of Alvin Kamara running the ball all day, who's not young either. So for you had veteran, pretty much a veteran, 7 spots lower in DJ Moore. I had him 1 spot lower than consensus. So what was the reason for such a low spot for him?
I think he's going to be the odd man out in this offense. I mean, I think it's a shot in the dark. I don't really have much in regards to ground information to help support that. But I think there is going to be an odd man out. I think the Chicago offense is going to have a heavier run game established. It was done in Detroit. I think Caleb Williams is going to spread the ball out around more. I think they're going to involve Rome Odunze heavily more in the offense. And we have Luther Burden, who's going to be coming into roles into as well. So I just think I don't think DJ Moore is necessarily going to be terrible. I just don't see him putting out the numbers that he has in previous years, therefore lowering him down on the list.
No, and I 100% understand that. I think this year might be his last year for a big year, and then who knows what's going to happen after that. So I get it. 100% on that one. Tier 6, we have Jordan Addison, Jalen Waddle, DK Metcalf, Emeka Egbuka, Tyreek Hill, Jamison Williams, George Pickens, Brandon Ayuk. There's a lot of good wide receivers still in this sixth tier. So I'm going to ask you the question that I was going to ask you before, but I didn't want to spoil it. You say that you don't like rookies. And then you have Emeka Egbuka 9 spots higher than consensus. Please elaborate.
Okay, well, I have to rank these guys, don't I? I have to rank them, so they have to be put there. But Emeka Egbuka, and I'm going by, in this, for how I use this as my tiebreakers, I went by, at the end of the year, Egbuka is going to prove that he is the best wide receiver in this draft class. The only reason I have him ranked higher, the only wide receiver that I have ranked higher, and it's only by 1 or 2 tiers, is Travis Hunter. Because I believe that Jacksonville Jaguars will utilize him as the dual threat that he is. That would put him a hair above anybody else in the draft class because of the dual skill set. But I can't indicate that he is the best, not the best wide receiver without having that power. But Egbuka, in my opinion, is going to come out of this draft class as one of the best wide receivers. Therefore, he has to be higher.
All right. I can respect it. I have him 5 spots lower just because I have too much respect for Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, and until they're not in the spot anymore, I can't put him ahead of them.
Call it pixie dust, but the amount of stuff that is coming out of training camp indicating that he is going to be probably the wide receiver 1 on that offense is showing that he's showing the age of Mike Evans, and he is showing that there's, quote, no rush for Godwin. So when you have phrases like that coming from this high-powered offensive coach, I'm interested to see what they have in store for him.
Yeah, no, and you've been banging the Emeka Egbuka drum all year.
I'm still a little bummed by the landing spot. I'm still a little bummed by that landing spot, but I'm going to try to make the best out of it.
And that's exactly why I had him a little bit lower than consensus. Like I said, 5 spots lower, because there's so much there. We didn't even talk about Jalen McMillan, who played really well in Godwin's out when Godwin was hurt.
Yeah, he did.
So it's just convoluted there. They still have 2 running backs, K-Dot, like there's so much there. So it just worries me, but I 100% understand. I kind of figured you were going to have him high. And you have Travis Hunter 1 spot ahead. So you were right on the money.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So next I have Jalen Waddle 5 spots lower. You have him 3 spots higher, so 8 spot difference as well. I actually was really surprised that I had him lower than consensus because I love Jalen Waddle. I just think Tyreek Hill is going to have a bang back year this year, and then who knows? And if Tua gets hurt again, like he does almost every year, it seems, terrified about his outcome there. I do love Quinn Ewers, but he is that rookie 7th round pick who's unproven. Who knows if it's going to be a Brock Purdy or not? So there's just a lot of questions out there, and so that's why I have him lower. DK Metcalf, I have 5 spots higher. You have him exactly where the consensus had him there. For me, he's all they got in Pittsburgh. He has a legitimate quarterback. I don't care if he's 41 or not. He has a person who is one of the best passers of all time, and he is hopefully not going to be triple teamed because there's no one else on this team. But there's no one else to throw the ball to, really, unless you want to talk about tight ends, which they're okay. They're not great, though. So for that, he gets a little bit of a bump. I don't know how much longer they're going to have no wide receiver 2, but as long as that's the case, he's going to stay high on my ranks. And then Tyreek Hill, 5 spots higher. I basically just am giving this. There's a couple people on here that I just have to give their flowers until they're done. And there's a few people that I can't put them below, if that makes sense. He is a number 1 for a high-powered offense. Still a blazer, so fast. So I know you have him 5 spots lower. Is there any reason, or really just the age, or?
Yeah, just basically a little bit of age, and it has tended to slow them down a little bit. And I know, right as of now, he's not the most favorable person in that locker room. So I think it's just a little bit of adding on a little bit of all that added onto it.
Absolutely. Now we're going to get to some good things from your side here. Jameson Williams, 10 spots higher. I have 1 spot higher, but 10 spots higher. Please elaborate.
No, Jameson, I think this is going to be a breakout year. He's coming into a contract year. He's coming into his 5th-year option. Look, I think the way that he fits into this offense it was showing into it spectacularly last year. I know that they are switching the offensive coordinators, but his skill set was shown in what he can do on that field in regards to his speed, his athleticism, and his catch abilities were all highlighted.
No, that's perfect. I can't believe it's his 4th year already.
Right? It's insane. I mean, obviously it was hindered by injury and suspension, but
I'm a huge fan of Jameson Williams. I loved him coming out of Alabama, but unfortunately, those 2 years kind of soured me a little bit, especially when I drafted him midway through my first round, just like the Detroit Lions did in our first rookie draft. So a little bitter taste there. And I do have 1 spot higher, like I said, but I can understand the breakout. I just have to see it at this point. So I get that. George Pickens is your highest mover in the entire game, and he's not even a Steeler anymore. So this Pittsburgh bias is not true. So
not
16 spots higher.
16 spots higher. We can go to previous pods where it's no secret. I think Pickens is definitely right up there with my Garrett Wilson. He's one of the ones that I cannot leave a draft without. I think George Pickens, as a wide receiver 1, did not have the best quarterback play that showcased what he could possibly do. He is not going to need to be the wide receiver 1. He is not going to. He's going to be on a better passing offensive team with a better passing quarterback. I just feel he is just going to absolutely explode this year. I understand that he's under CD. He will never be the wide receiver 1 on that team. I agree with that. But when you have a team where you have a quarterback that's throwing as much as Dak Prescott throws, you're going to have enough volume to sustain 2 wide receivers as well as a tight end like they do. The run game is already sus. We've already talked about that ad nauseum in regards to how that locker room's run game is going to be highlighted. And I just think this year he's going to just absolutely explode.
Absolutely sounds good. And by the way, I got a feeling we'll talk about the running backs next week for Dallas. I have a pretty good feeling about that. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge.
Let's do it.
Yeah. So I can't really fault anything you said. I like him. I have him 4 spots higher. I was shocked when I saw how high you had him, which was pretty crazy. I think you have him in your 4th tier, right below him, above Devonta Smith. So, yeah, I mean,
that 4th tier.
You put your stamp on this one.
Yeah, the 4th. My apologies for interrupting. The 4th tier I looked as the elite of the elite wide receiver 2s. So you have your T. Higgins, you have your Devonta Smiths. At the end of the year, you're going to have George Pickens in this tier as well.
I like it, man. Buy up is what you're telling me.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely. All right. So that was the first 6 tiers we had here. We're going to go through 7 through 10 in just a little bit. But first, we're going to talk about one running back to kind of get your appetite wet for next week. Jordan Mason. Big talk over the offseason, obviously. He got traded to the Minnesota Vikings. We'll talk about the trade in just a second. But 26 years old, 3 years in the league. This will be his 4th year coming up. 5'11", 223 pounds. Last year, first 4 weeks, he was absolutely unbelievable. 3 weeks, over 20 points. 8 out of 12 weeks that he played last year, he was in double digits. Again, very impressive. Obviously, he was a starter last year when Christian McCaffrey went and ghosted everybody. Then drafted him number 1 overall. Probably everyone still has a bad taste in their mouth about that. In 5 out of those 12 weeks, he had less than a 30% snap share, meaning he was either hurt or probably coming off an injury. And also that means that one of those weeks that he had less than a 30% snap share, he had more than 10 points in that game. fantasy-wise. So pretty impressive, like I said. Ended season injured in Week 13, Game 12. Like I said before, got traded to the Minnesota Vikings. Minnesota Vikings traded 2025 160th pick. In 2026, 6th round for Mason, and a 2025 187th pick. His contract, 2 years, $7 million guaranteed, worth up to $12 million. Not a bad contract for backup running back, quote unquote, as he is expected to be part of the offense with Aaron Jones. And some people, I believe we're talking to one of them, think he might be the number one at some point this year. So what are your feelings about Aaron Jones? What's your take on him, right? Or I'm sorry, not Aaron Jones.
Jordan Mason.
I apologize.
That's okay. It's all good. No, I believe you said it, nailed it on the head. Jordan Mason is. I think he is going to be one of the ones that take over a backfield this year. Look, when you have a team, when the Vikings traded draft picks for him, like you mentioned, I mean, you never see that in a running back market. Like it's clear that the Vikings saw something that they loved and wanted to grab him as a top priority. He was top 6 amongst all running backs last season in yards per carry and rushing yards over expected. Aaron Jones missed like 6 games in 2023. He's now 30 years old. He's no longer that three down back or workhorse that he used to be. I just think Jordan Mason, and they're already coming out of camp indicating that Jordan Mason and Aaron Jones are going to be a 1A, 1B type situation in regards to the type of volume that they're going to have in an offensive involvement. That alone tells me that Jordan Mason is going to have exceptional amount of time to carry, exceptional amount of carries that he can have, and he's going to show that he has the volume and capabilities, and he's going to run away with the first running back spot.
I love it.
Intended.
Yeah, I am a Aaron Jones fanatic, big fan of his, have been his entire career. I've also seen him whenever adversity comes his way where everyone thinks he's going to lose his starting job. He wasn't even supposed to have the starting job in Green Bay, and he won that from A.J. Dillon. He wasn't supposed to be the starter once they drafted a few players in Green Bay, and he still beat them out. He wasn't supposed to be the 1A or only one in Minnesota last year, and he ended up doing that. So we'll see what happens. Jordan Mason's probably the best that he's had behind him. But until he's one of those guys, like, he has done so much for me fantasy-wise and for my eyes to watch, fun to watch, that I can't quit on him until they force me to, if that makes sense. But I do think Jordan Mason might be the number one handcuff in the entire NFL. He has that potential after what we saw last year, and it wasn't against just scrub teams. I mean, that he was consistently good, and that's all you can ask for from your probably second or third running back on your depth chart, fantasy wise. So. I'd be trying to get him if I could right now, if I knew the person that had him wasn't obsessed with him. Hint, hint, Jeremy. But yeah, I mean, I can't disagree with anything you said. I like everything you said. We talked about it beforehand. I do believe there is a chance he does supersede Aaron Jones. I just can't fully get on board with that until I see Aaron Jones breakdown, if that makes sense. So,
yes, it does.
Super excited for him. I'd be trying to buy up as much shares as I can right now because it is 2 years. I don't know how much longer Aaron Jones is going to be the number one. And if he's coming out of camp that well, as you say, it might be a one.
Aaron Jones is going to be the number one for about 2.5 more months. That's about it.
Well, we'll see. We'll say that.
Just make sure your wife keeps both running backs in the one league. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, no, she grabbed Jordan Mason for that reason. As soon as Minnesota traded for him, so she was handcuffing already. She had it done.
Well done.
Yep, well done by her. That's right. Moving on, we have going back to the wide receiver ranks and tiers. We're going to go through 7 to 10 tiers here. A little bit quicker hits because they're a little bit lower, except for my first guy, but we'll get to that in just a second. And he's actually the first one on the list here. Mike Evans is the first one in Tier 7. Devontae Adams, Jerry Jeudy, Matthew Golden, Chris Godwin, Josh Downs, Ricky Pearsall, Luther Burden, Cortland Sutton, Khalil Shakir, Jaden Reed, Jaden Higgins. This is a big tier. We do have quite a few players to talk about here. First off, again, I have Mike Evans, who is at the top of this tier in consensus, 16 spots higher than consensus. And this is my highest change or person. I have him actually at the end of my the fourth tier behind Rome Odunze and above Xavier Worthy, personally for me. Again, this is just kind of a give him his flowers until he can't do it anymore. He is a fantasy machine. 1,000 yards, bunch of touchdowns, still has it, hasn't lost it, looked great last year. And I don't see it changing. It's kind of like the Derrick Henry. Everyone thinks it's going to be over, and then it's not, right? So I just until like same thing with Aaron Jones, same thing with Derrick Henry, same thing with Alvin Kamara. Until it doesn't happen anymore, like I just can't move them any lower. I think the consensus has it kind of built in his age. I think he's 31, or somewhere around there. I apologize, I don't know his exact age, but. You do have him 2 spots higher, so you agree, obviously, not as strongly as me, but
no, I agree, and I think consensus is with you. It's until the wheels fall off, they ain't falling off, and until those wheels don't fall off, he's going to produce me the numbers that he continues to produce me. So, I'm riding that one.
No, absolutely. By the way, I just got breaking news, which is hilariously bad breaking news, but it came through. Tyler Huntley is now going to be a Cleveland Brown. So they have 6 terrible quarterbacks.
What? Oh, my Lord.
Yeah, we don't know what the heck's going on in Cleveland. That's going to be fun. So apparently they're not very happy with their quarterback situation.
Nope.
Sorry about that. Just came through and I had to say something about it.
It's Snoop Huntley. I wonder if it's because of the injuries. I know Gabriel has a hamstring and Pickett has whatever. So maybe. But again, you're right. I mean, this is QB6. Like it's wild that the QB room that is stacked as it is still needs a body.
Yeah. So sorry about that little infomercial there, but moving on, we have Matthew Golden. I have 12 spots lower. You have 8 spots lower. We both agree on this one. Everyone thinks he's going to be the number one. Everyone's excited that the Green Bay Packers finally drafted a first-round pick, wide receiver. I'm not sold. Just plain as it can be. I'm not sold. I think Jaden Reed's better. I think Romeo Doubs might be better as well. Matthew Golden's got a lot to prove. We'll see what happens. I haven't really paid attention too much. As I said last week, I don't pay a whole lot of attention to training camp, just kind of what the news is. So I don't know how he's doing in camp or anything like that. But until I see it on the actual NFL, I just don't believe in Matthew Golden quite as much as anybody else. And it sounds like you feel the same way there.
Yeah, I think it's just a matter of mouths to feed. And again, and I think you said it. I personally like Reed over Golden, so I can't put Golden higher than Reed.
Right. Now, my next guy, Ricky Pearsall, I have him 11 spots lower. You have 2 spots higher. So we have a 13 spot difference. That's one of the biggest we have, I think, in the entire list. And I said it last week. I just think there are more mouths to feed. We saw a little bit from Pearsall, but not enough for me. And honestly, the wide receivers are so deep, I couldn't put them above a lot of the people. Just couldn't put them above the names that were around them, to be 100% honest. So it not necessarily even had too much to do with him. It's more along the lines of, I have him Calvin Ridley. I had Matthew Golden ahead, which we can talk about. But might need to move him. I had to have Jawan Jennings ahead of him because I say he's going to be the number one wide receiver there, right? So that had to happen. Khalil Shakir, Stephon Diggs, Luther Burden. I couldn't put him ahead of any of those players, except for maybe Matthew Golden. We might need to revisit that. So it wasn't necessarily anything to do with him. It's just he's going to be, in my opinion, number 3 if Ayuk comes back. He'll be the number 4 or 5 with Christian McCaffrey and George Kittle pass catcher wise. So there's not enough space for him. For me personally. So that's kind of the reasoning for me on that one. Jaden Higgins, kind of the same deal. Obviously, they don't have much of a running back situation right now, but I still like Dalton Schultz. I think Jaden Higgins is going to be a nice number 2 for the outside, but they still have Christian Kirk, who I do like for this year and this year alone. So we'll see what happens with Jaden Higgins in the future. But I have him 8 spots lower. You have him 3 spots lower, so you semi-agree with me on that one as well. And then you were super negative in this tier here. Jerry Jeudy, 14 spots lower. Luther Burden, 14 spots lower. I had Jeudy 1 spot higher and Burden 4 spots lower than consensus. Jerry Jeudy, Luther Burden, 14 spots lower. What's the reasoning?
Jerry Jeudy, I'm going with that horrific quarterback room.
I
can't put Jeudy ahead of some of us. Wow.
I'm kidding.
I hear you laughing in the background, so I can't say that you could say that with a straight face because I know it was impossible for you to do it. But nevertheless, I'm going again. I can't put him ahead of some of these wide receivers just because of how horrible that quarterback room potentially could be, and how guinea pig-esque it's going to be in regards to trying different guys, and then you're dealing with different chemistries and everything in between. So it's not necessarily too much on Jeudy that I can do in regards to it, but it's a matter of who's throwing the ball. And Luther Burden, again, he's coming out of camp right now, and there's not too many good things coming out of camp. I know Ben Johnson and him have not seen eye to eye. I know he was coming. He's had some minor injuries here and there coming into it, and he's had delayed starts with OTAs and everything in between with his contract. So I can't put him as super high up there. Again, it's probably because I don't. With the exception of Emeka Egbuka and Travis Hunter, I can't put wide receivers too high that are rookies on this list until I see a little bit more how they gel into the actual league themselves.
Yeah, no, I 100% understand that. Luther Burden, I was super excited for coming into the draft. Was very, very upset with where him and Egbuka ended up. So can't blame you on that one at all. Jerry Jeudy, I think it might have been the Jameis effect last year. There's a possibility of that, and that's what it sounds like to you as well.
Yes.
So we shall see what happens there. He is the number 1 there. Not that it really matters, but he is the number 1 pass catcher there. Tier 8, we have smaller list, which is nice. I can grab my breath here. Michael Pittman, Jawan Jennings, Calvin Ridley, Jacoby Myers, Deebo Samuel, Keon Coleman. You were so negative this last tier. I'm going to let you give your flowers to one of your guys.
No, that's fair enough. I appreciate that. I'm going to go with Mr. Underrated himself, Jacoby Myers. Look, I understand he is wide receiver 2, even though he's wide receiver 1 behind a tight end. I understand that. But praises can be heard on last week's pod as well, indicating what kind of underrated that and the element numbers that he's able to produce.
Perfect. So you had Jacoby Myers 13 spots higher than consensus. I had him 5 spots lower. We talked about that last week, so I don't need to go over it again. But I did have 2 higher this week. Deebo Samuel, or in this tier, I'm sorry. Deebo Samuel, 10 spots higher. I did rank this after the Terry McLaurin information of possibly being or wanting a trade, or that could just be smoke and mirrors to try to get the deal done. But I do think Deebo is going to be a very valuable piece in the Commanders team. So I have him 10 spots higher. You have seven spots higher. So we both agree on that.
Yes, we do.
That he's going to be a ball hog, in my opinion. Keon Coleman, I have been on Keon Coleman since I think we started this podcast, probably before. So there's no shock that I have him 12 spots higher as the number one in Buffalo. I think he is going to have a breakout year. It has been said that the Buffalo Bills offensive playbook is a little bit more convoluted than other ones, so a little bit tougher to learn right away, as Amari Cooper has shown us last year as well. So Keon Coleman having a year under his belt, kind of getting his feet wet last year, started to look or had shades of what I think he can be last year. He also had the best quarterback in football throwing you the ball. So in my opinion, I know everyone else says Patrick Mahomes. I disagree. I think it is Josh Allen. I love Keon Coleman, number one for Buffalo, and I think next year when we talk about these same tiers, he's going to fly up. He's going to be in the top 5 tiers, maybe 6 at worst. So, next up we have tier 9. Kyle Williams, Jack Bash, Stephon Diggs. They have Kyle Williams ahead of Stephon Diggs. We'll move on. Rashid Shaheed, Darnell Mooney, Cooper Kupp, Jalen Noel, Jalen McMillan, Rashad Bateman, and Marvin Mims round out tier 9. We're going to go a little bit quicker here. I know we have a lot of higher differences or bigger differences, but we're a little bit lower on the totem pole here. So these are in the mid 50s to 60s. So we're going to go a little bit quicker. So real quick for me, and you have them even higher than I do. But Rashid Shaheed, 11 spots higher for me, 15 spots higher for you. We both said we probably should put him in front of Olave, but just couldn't move him up that far. 15 and 11 is
right.
quite enough. I think the consensus here that we put together is forgetting how great he was before he got injured. Top 10 wide receiver, I believe, before he got injured. So hopefully he comes back and is the same thing, and then we can laugh at everybody that they're wrong, right?
Right.
One-word answer, love it. Jalen McMillan, I have him 11 spots lower. You have 1 spot lower. This is very simple. We talked about this already. There's no room. So I had to drop him as far down as I think I could. Darnell Mooney, you're 10 spots lower. I'm 4 spots lower. What's your reasoning for Darnell?
I think Darnell was a beneficiary of Kirk Cousins. Without Kirk Cousins throwing the ball, that's not on Penix. I just feel I think London is going to benefit greatly. I think the tight ends are going to benefit a little bit higher. But I think Mooney was somebody who took advantage of the Kirk Cousins project.
I think you were in my head whenever you said, not saying the Penix isn't good.
Yeah. I want to make sure we're good here, Mick. Don't come at me. I'm not.
I was almost there, bud. I was almost there.
There's going to be other individuals that benefit from Penix being there, not named Darnell Mooney.
Oh, you're a Kyle Pitts guy again.
We're going to Kyle Pitts guy, and I think we're going to see Bijan like we've never seen Bijan before.
Yeah, it could be a fun year for Bijan.
Yes,
I've heard.
Oh, touche, Bijan.
Yes, the change of the name there, or change of the accent, however you want to say it. And then you have Rashad Bateman, 8 spots higher. I do have 1 spot higher. I don't like Rashad Bateman. I couldn't believe how low he was. Is it kind of why he was that high for you, or?
Yes, that's exactly why. I just can't believe he was that low. I like Flowers. Let's give Flowers his flowers, but Bateman, when healthy, is a PPR dude.
Yeah, absolutely. And then finally, tier 10, we did get here finally. Hollywood Brown, Cedric Tillman, Xavier Legette, Trey Harris, Christian Kirk, Romeo Doubs, and Quentin Johnston. So that gets us to 68 players that in QJ somehow is still on the list. I love it. So for me, Trey Harris, his teammate actually, I have him 8 spots higher. You have him 3 spots higher. I personally think Trey Harris is going to unlock Herbert in this offense. I'm excited for the running backs. I'm excited for Ladd McConkey. I'm excited for Rondé Gadsden. But I think Trey Harris is kind of the key that they've been missing since Mike Williams left. So the first time. So super excited for him. Christian Kirk, again, he's good. He's the number 4 Houston Texan listed on this list. And I think it's because he only has probably 1 year left, and then who knows what's going to happen. But for 1 year, I think he's going to be better than people give him credit for. I think he's going to be the number 2 pass catcher on this team and kind of own the middle of that field. You have him 3 spots lower, so you disagree, but that's okay. We also disagree on Xavier Legette. I am 2 spots lower. You have 11 spots higher. Tell us why.
Yeah, I think he's going to be the T. Higgins of the Carolina Panthers. Now, the T. Higgins, now I'm trying to compare to, I don't want to necessarily say he's the same skill set because I do have him obviously several tiers below T. Higgins here. But you're going to have Tet. You're going to have Sanders, the tight end, catching the ball. You're going to have Tet catching the ball. You're going to have Thielen catching the ball. You're going to have Coker catching the ball. You have a lot of mouths to feed there. Xavier Legette almost carried that wide receiver 1 title last year with momentum and motivation. He had one big drop that people tend to always bring up, and it was against the Eagles because it was a monumental game. I get it, but he had some really good numbers that helped sustain him as a wide receiver 1 to the point where if McMillan was gone off the boards, I don't believe the Panthers take a wide receiver at the draft at that moment. So I think he is somebody who has the capabilities of having T. Higgins like career numbers this season to a Tet who is obviously going to be the wide receiver 1. And I think he needs to get a little bit more credit than where it's due.
All right. I didn't see too much from him last year, and I think Ted's going to be a ball machine. So that's why I put him lower, but I can understand why you would have him a little bit higher. Absolutely. And then just a couple names to keep in mind. Don't forget Tank Dell is still alive, and maybe not well right now, but he is still around. So if you can get him cheap, I would go ahead and get him for the following year if you choose to do that. If your bench is deep enough to be able to stash him, or if you have an IR spot. Also, 3 rookies that I have been higher than most on. Definitely Elikayo Manor. We both actually had him on our list. I had him pretty high in my 10th tier. Just keep an eye on him. Pat Bryant, who was supposed to be, from what all the media said, we said this last week, Cortland Sutton's replacement. That's not going to happen, but he might be able to perform as the opposite side of Cortland Sutton. So we'll see there. And then Jalen Royals, you always want to take a chance on the Kansas City wide receiver that they draft, in my opinion. So, Jeremy, for you, you had 4 guys as well. Wan'Dale Robinson, Demario Douglas, Jalen Coker, and Joshua. That's not his last name.
Palmer.
Thank you. I have no idea why I have Bryant here. That makes no sense. So, yeah, Joshua Palmer. Anybody you wanted to kind of specialize on?
Or no, not necessarily.
Show a light on. I'm sorry.
No, not necessarily. Just Pop Douglas deserves some love. I know he's having a fantastic camp, and he's already being deemed a potential wide receiver 1. He seems to be doing very well and competing against Stephon Diggs. But Wan'Dale Robinson also is somebody who goes under the radar because of Malik Neighbors. But I think Wan'Dale Robinson's going to have himself a great year this year. That's probably who I would probably want to keep my eye on the most out of that list is Mr. Robinson.
Yeah, you had him.
Mr. Robinson.
You had him at the top of your 9th tier, so you really had him a lot higher than consensus, and a lot of other people would have him. I didn't even have him on my list, to be honest. So you did kind of show a light a little bit on him for sure. So anything else we missed? Anything else you want to talk about real quick?
No, not necessarily. I think this was a fun episode. I think I think it was fun to compare the two our two groups together. We were able to be almost dead even on a lot of them, but then almost a dozen separations. So it was cool to compare the two of them. And next week should be just as fun with the running backs.
Man, and what I noticed, the biggest thing I noticed on these, if you're doing a starter draft, especially, wide receiver is so deep. Like, I'm looking at number 50 on my board, and it's Matthew Golden, so that's not so great. Let me look. 49, or I'm sorry, 48 is Juwan Jennings. So I'd be fine with him as one of my three running wide receivers, and that's wide receiver 50 or 48. I'm sorry. So that should be the last spot of a fourth round or of your wide receiver fours, right? So if you're playing in 12 team, so it's just so deep, which is really fun to see, and it just keeps getting deeper and deeper every single year. Telling me, and I know I'm in two leagues with you, so I don't necessarily want you to hear this, but it's telling me that outside of the top 2-3 tiers, I can wait on wide receiver for a while and not lose a lot of points, which is really the key for me. All right, looks like we lost Jeremy right at the very end. Not sure if he's going to come back or not, but for Jeremy, I'm Mickey. This has been Dynasty from the Mountaintops. Make sure you listen to us on Podbean, YouTube, or Apple. Socials, we have at dynastymttops on Blue Sky and X. And then email us at dynastymttops@gmail.com for any comments or show ideas that you have. Like I said, the next 2 weeks we're going to talk about rankings and then do a quick little starter draft. So if you did listen and you would like to be in the starter draft, please let us know as well. So for Jeremy, who don't know what happened, but hopefully he's okay. Oh, there he is. He's back.
I'm back. Where were we?
We were just signing off, brother.
All right, sounds good.
So for Jeremy, who just decided to join us again, I'm Mickey. This has been Dynasty from the Mountaintops. You have a great night.
Thanks.